back to another edition of the Dirty Birdie Podcast. This week, we will talk about some legal news, starting with the P Diddy.
Peter, you're not going to introduce us?
No,
he has to be this.
he has to do an intro.
He has to do the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how we're doing this?
We're going to talk.
Well, he was, but it's brewing.
Yeah. Do you want to restart it?
No. Keep this.
Yeah, no, keep this. This is good.
Okay. Anyhow, we're going to talk legal news this week, where, of course, some weeks we have guests. Some guests are super interesting and fun, and that'll be for another day. But this week we're going to talk about legal news stories, starting with the P Diddy. But with that in mind, I'll introduce my co-hosts, Kyle Herbert.
That's me, Peter. Thank you.
And Bill Ogden.
Hey.
All right. And we have a special guest sitting in with, not a guest, a constant here. It's Amanda Orr, who's not a lawyer, but is a PR expert and can help you with all your...
And works with a lot of lawyers.
Yeah. Works with lawyers, helps lawyers say the right things and message the right way. And when they're in a crisis, helps them and their clients message that as well. So she's going to give us her take from her perspective as a...
Do you guys know any lawyers in crisis today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Short answer. Do I want to talk about them? No.
Bill, you know any lawyers in crisis today? I would say after the evening we've had together, the fact that you might think that you don't know lawyers in crisis.
No, I mean, I feel like Rudy Giuliani, well, he's not a lawyer anymore. Dang it. Bill Clinton, nope, not a lawyer anymore. Nope, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right, then smooth sailing. Sorry to interrupt, Peter.
Okay, so we are going to talk about the Sean Combs, also known as P Diddy.
Puffy.
This has been going on for quite some time, where he is under indictment and in jail,
Custody.
No bail. Recently, news story number one, he's been accused of trying to influence the jury and possible witnesses via his friends. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, that's been...
How's he communicating with them outside of jail?
Via people that come to visit.
Well,
I mean, I don't think there's any privacy on the non-legal communications on the phones or, when you meet. I think they're free to...
But there's always phones in jail.
You think
Like
legal?
No.
What?
Illegal for sure.
There's cell phones in jail?
Yeah, they post videos online.
I'm kidding.
Let me just tell you something about jail.
No, Kyle, tell us about how they get the phones there.
Let me tell you something about jail, Bill.
Where do they smuggle
You can
them?
exercise as much as you want. You get like 6 books a day. You get 3 square meals. And apparently all the texting and phones that you want.
And conjugal visits sometimes.
Sounds pretty awesome, doesn't
Know
it?
that. Yeah, I mean, Bill,
Kyle,
the way
conjugals.
the way the phones get in is like someone will bake a cake and they'll bake a cake, and then how that typically works.
Yeah. They'll put like a key and like a nail file and like a...
Yeah.
I've seen Shawshank Redemption. That's
That
not
way,
what...
just, put it in nature's pocket and smuggle it in.
Yes.
Oh.
That's what I would
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, that's the news. Other news story is, there's a criminal component and there's a civil component. So, Tony Buzbee's had press conferences, represents that he has 120 clients. Is that right, Amanda, that you've seen?
It's like over 100.
So there's no question that he's got the claims against Mr. Combs, which he's been filing, I think, at various times. The big kind of elephant in the room is that he alludes to the fact that there's some super famous people that were at these events and have either partook in some of the stuff or watched it and knew about it and didn't do anything about it. So he's definitely alluded to the fact that he's going to try to settle with those people before filing a lawsuit, but he hasn't named anyone yet. So newsbreak is a prominent celebrity recently sued Tony and his firm for allegedly extorting this person, and no one knows who it is because they filed under John Doe. People have some suspicion. Bill, do you have a suspicion on who that John Doe might be?
Is John Hinckley still alive?
And any suspicion you have would be purely conjecture and just opinion on your part, of course, right?
I don't, The Rock is in the building, I believe is what he says.
I was going to say maybe Barry Manilow. Is he still alive?
I think Barry is. I don't know if John Hinckley Jr. is, though.
He murdered
Reagan.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't murder, they shot him.
tried. Yeah.
I think he's still alive. Okay, so whoever it is, they've sued Tony. This is brand new. I believe the firm is Quinn Emanuel. I think I've heard
How do you get sued for sending it? Is it just they send a demand letter?
There was a standard demand letter according to Tony. Hey, we have this information. If you'd like to talk, mediate, pre-suit, let's talk. There's no dollar demand. I've seen those written very improperly to where it does sound like very much like extortion. I think Tony knows how to do them in the right way.
I mean, you basically just have to state a factual basis for a viable legal claim, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, there's plenty of people that settle claims before.
I mean,
They don't just like, it's not like ESP that someone knows they want to sue them. Someone gives them a demand and says, we know this stuff. So I
in
think
fact,
Tony
many statutes require a pre-suit demand.
I think the takeaway is there's some very
Bad thing.
wealthy, bad things, some very wealthy people that have
Whose name is on the where was this filed?
Los Angeles.
Well, I don't know any famous people there.
I think Quinn Emanuel put out a press release is what it looked like from X. But there's some people that are like, I think they're like thinking their livelihoods and meaning in prison and their financial livelihoods are at stake, and they're doing what people are in that situation do, and that is burn the house down to defend themselves.
Yeah.
I think we're about to see
Who do you think it is?
the person.
Yeah.
I don't know because I really have not followed this as closely as others. According to Twitter,
hold on.
according to
I was saying,
commenters on Twitter.
Let me stop. Let me ask a question that won't get us sued.
Yeah.
Who is Twitter, and like, who do they think it is?
And
It is.
Okay, Twitter, the people commenting on Twitter appear to think Jay-Z is the mysterious John Doe in the recent lawsuit.
The Queen Bee would be upset about that.
But like I said,
Rock is in the building. That's why I said that.
yeah.
I thought you meant The Rock.
It's not as hip hop.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, the Miami Hurricanes defensive lineman.
Moana, yeah. The guy in
Oh,
Moana.
okay.
So that's going on. But I think we started an episode that it ended up being scrapped where we talked about this. The interplay, Bill, Kyle, between criminal and civil. Typically, the criminal investigation and trial will precede the civil because now we've had a new, I think, ruling in the Supreme Court, Texas Supreme Court, but nationally or kind of the general rule of thumb is criminal goes ahead because the civil case, the guy has to take the fifth because he's being prosecuted or he's being investigated. That's not fair to them at the civil trial because everyone assumes that if you're going to take the fifth, you're guilty, even though that's not the whole nature of the Fifth Amendment is actually to protect against that. But in this case, I can't tell what's going on with the civil and criminal, how that's going to interplay. Do y'all have any thoughts on that?
I mean, not even the first idea. I mean, it seems like, I mean, I don't know. Like, so from a purely legal context, there are some cases where I really wanted the criminal issue to get to trial first.
Mm-hmm.
Other cases where I really wanted them to plead the fifth. Just depends on the facts.
Yeah.
What's really going on in this case? Well, shoot, we don't even know who most of the complainants are. We don't know who the co-defendants are going to be.
You don't even know who
Right. We don't even know who one of the complainants is. I mean, like, holy cow.
And then there's
they're not. We know I'm fairly certain we can say John Doe is likely not Diddy.
Right.
Because he would have just put his name on it. Because look what it's already out there.
For sure. But everybody else, is this like a Bill Cosby, O.J. Simpson moment where we're like, are these icons of our culture like really horrible dirtbags?
Why are those your heroes? Tell us that.
Well, because I can't be a fan of Robert Kraft anymore, or Brett Favre.
You can be a fan of Brett Favre.
No, you can't.
Nah, I can't.
That bad?
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, not great.
So now I'm left with Bill Cosby and P Diddy and Elon Musk.
Okay.
So,
Bill.
what I think is interesting though too, the prosecutors, wouldn't they want to have information, like all the stuff that Tony has gathered through PR and town hall meetings or what have you? Wouldn't the prosecutors want to talk to his clients if they're actually trying to prosecute crimes and find out what they have?
Maybe.
So that's the other thing. That's the other interplay is like the prosecutors, are they happy? Usually they are not happy when a civil lawyer is doing stuff because that obviously that your witness obviously has been compromised because they can go, oh, Kyle, you said that about Amanda, but aren't you also wanting money from her in a civil lawsuit?
Again, I was going to say it's so fact specific. Like I've had prosecutors in Harris and Montgomery and Fort Bend. Like, we really want your witness statements. We really want to figure out how to work together. And I've had some who are just like, don't call here. When the case is done, I'll send you the investigative file. Until then, don't call here.
Do you ever have interactions in those between the prosecutors or you? That's probably not a PR thing, really.
Yeah, actually, when I first started out my career, I was primarily covering criminal trials. Yeah, and so talking to both sides was really interesting, and there was always like some complexity whenever a civil matter was involved. And then I produced. I know y'all think this is the first podcast I produced, but I produced another podcast.
Was it better than us?
You've been out with other podcasts.
I thought you ever produced like Dateline, like a real thing,
Yeah.
and not fake thing like podcast.
I did do that, but then another podcast, and we actually did a couple episodes.
Dateline NBC.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you've been on Dateline.
You think
of course, that's like
you think Dateline's bigger than us?
Bill thought it was a place to pick up chicks.
Dateline. So yeah, you produced other stuff where you talked to.
Yeah, well, we did a couple episodes on Bill Cosby, like the intersection of civil and criminal, and I think a lot of it boiled down to, if I remember correctly, was like the statute of limitations, which I think in the Diddy cases we're not there yet.
Well, they've changed the laws, at least in New York, I think California, where they've extended them for like ever.
Boy Scouts litigation expanded a lot for that. And Texas actually expanded ours.
Yeah, so
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you hear a lot of talk about the Diddy thing, but like nothing's really changed. He's been indicted. He's in jail. The civil lawsuits are piling up. The new developments are these other people, to me, that the non-Diddy potential defendants look like they're about to go scorched earth.
They're not going to, I mean, they're not stayed. They're not going to get stayed.
Yeah.
I would assume they file separately against those individuals if they get to that point. So, yeah, I mean, even if the Diddy case is stayed, it sounds like they have a lot of work to do on the side.
And the civil cases, too, could get JPML'd if they're filing in federal and courts in New York and California.
If you're in federal courts in multiple states, then yeah, you could. I mean, I don't know what the threshold is for them to grant an MDL, but I think that would be awesome for Tony if he's the lead counsel for the Diddy MDL. I mean, because what else are you going to call it? That's something that no one would see coming. And I guess the only really time we've ever seen this from the legal standpoint with like that many victims, it's like Harvey Weinstein. What happened to the civil cases with that?
I have no idea. Anyone
should look that up. Kyle,
I'll look. Yes, I'm sorry, Bill. I will look that up right away.
Kyle, look that up for us.
Apologize.
Right. And like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot. I mean, we all have talked about sexual assault cases and how they're broken down. Trying to think if there's any kind of new complexity to anything. I mean, what do you, from a PR standpoint, this came up in some of our group texts, and I'll be generic about it. If some random person on Twitter, and it's like, let's say they make up the Institute for Legal Scholars, and they put something out and say Kyle Herbert, is like failed the bar and he's not really a lawyer.
I mean, which is kind of true.
Yeah. And they put it on Twitter, and like, you can see how many people have viewed a tweet now, or whatever they call them.
Are you on Twitter or Blue Sky?
30. I'm on X is what I'm look at. So let's say there's 34 views. Does Kyle want to go, and that's clearly untrue. Does Kyle want to go sue them for defamation, or does he just want to go?
It's almost like suing them gives their
Credence.
False comment some gravitas.
Right.
Yeah.
From a PR standpoint, you'd counsel someone not to do?
I would counsel him.
And no matter how much money Kyle won, it wouldn't change him because he's filthy rich.
Yeah, it's not.
Obviously.
But we had our prior guests who, I don't know when they're going to come. They talked about sending this mitigation letter, cease and desist. Do those work? I mean, those, like, I would love that episode had so much going on. I didn't want to get into too much detail, but cease and desist letters, people like, I'm going to hire a lawyer and send you a cease and desist letter. And it's like, that doesn't mean anything.
They do work.
But they work. But I mean, legally.
And, from a legal standpoint, the Texas Defamation Mitigation Act requires.
Right, yeah.
I was going to say that component of it works.
Yeah.
So those things do work. I always thought
Well, the cease and desist, I like from a legal standpoint, I don't really know what they do.
That's what I was saying.
But
yeah.
typically it will let the other part, the wrongdoing party know, like, hey, I'm not messing around. And, if you don't want to have to go pay a lawyer to get involved in it. So let's just knock it off.
Okay.
So a story to follow for many months, no doubt.
You'd like to go to another story, Kyle?
We can keep talking about this.
So I was just going to point out, Diddy staying in the same hotel that Ghislaine Maxwell and R. Kelly were staying in.
The prison?
The jail. Yeah.
Well, it's jail. Yeah. Prison is when you've been sentenced, right?
Well, I just think prison's like more long term. And I feel like they probably have better food.
Yeah. Prison's like where you get your mail.
Okay.
Jail's like,
we're going to
I'm just here to exercise a little bit.
just hang out. Yeah. Okay. This lawsuit is in Dallas. Cocktail fire disaster at Texas bar sparks lawsuit. Dallas, Texas. Dallas couple suing a bar after they received first, second, and third degree burns, all thanks to a flaming cocktail.
Ooh, I love this.
So this is at a bar called the Twisted Trick. They ordered a flaming pineapple. Does anyone know what that is?
Bill does.
No?
Tell us, Bill.
A flaming pineapple is, no, I'm kidding. I don't know what, but yeah. I assume it's got some 151 on the top though.
This one, they just, 151, that sounds like a refined drink. Is that?
No, 151, isn't that what
Like Everclear.
Yeah, it's like Everclear.
Yeah, I was going to say, they just used Everclear, probably maybe even just like rubbing alcohol, which they garnished it with the lime on fire, and they alleged the bartender put too much Everclear on it.
But which is a fair philosophical question.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as too much Everclear?
Senior in high school, Bill would beg to differ.
Now think about it. Here's my point. You're already drinking Everclear.
What's so bad about that?
It's just...
You've given up.
You're right. My point is, there is no too much or too little Everclear. It's just Everclear.
I think I'm team Everclear on this one.
Fair enough.
I was trying to look at what a flaming pineapple is, but...
Oh, you don't want those Google search terms on your computer.
I know. Not good. Not good. Okay, but sad news is the thing caught on fire. It broke the glass. Everything spilled out there, and they ended up. The one person's face was burnt. No, but like neck. I mean, they have pictures on the story. It's not good. And the other one, it was in the ICU for a week, and is had hospitalized for 6 weeks and had 3 skin grafts.
Oh my God!
You know what that reconstructive surgery?
There's a video of this, right?
There's a photograph of. Yeah, I'm looking at a photo of the woman's injuries, and they are not good at all.
I remember when I first saw that movie, Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
That's when I decided not to eat any more flaming cocktails.
So the bar's closed down. Attorneys representing the bar's owner deny the allegation. So maybe there's insurance, but...
Who's the plaintiff's lawyer?
It didn't say in the story, and it's Dallas, so we can't access pleadings up there without... At least I can't.
Taking into account the vast wealth and influence of the dirty verdict, we can at least get a password to the Dallas County District Clerk's office.
Bill may have one.
First of all, this pineapple thing, the woman in the couple was able to get a picture of the drink before it shipped.
Yeah, that's I didn't know if that was a picture of the drink.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, that looks pretty cool.
That looks tasty. I would drink that.
Apparently, there was too much Everclear in it, and then the bartender put a flaming piece of pineapple as a garnishment, and that you have oxygen, you have fuel, and now you have.
Which leads me to 2 different questions. Number one is my daughter's favorite dessert is, what's the bananas Foster? Like they just go crazy for it.
I do too.
I wonder how many injuries there are a year for bananas Foster.
You thinking about doing some SEO on that?
Maybe.
Because if you are, call my man Josh.
All right. Let's see. This one, I didn't send this around. I just saw it today. Of course, the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight, which was as we record this last weekend. I didn't see it because there was that Friday night?
Yeah.
For our game? Yeah. So we were doing stuff with family, but apparently the Netflix had a delay and.
Oh, it was bad. It was loading 24/7. Although we got to see Sophie Perez. Haven't seen her in forever. She's amazing. From White Man Can't Jump.
No, Sophie, not Rosie Perez. It's not Rosie Perez. She was fantastic.
She was good
So, of course, there's already a class action being filed
against Netflix.
against Netflix for that. So,
For the issues with the mics kept going out too.
yeah, I'm guessing you get your money back, or at least some.
Generally, Mike went out eventually.
Jerry Jones his mic went out, so he just started yelling what he was talking about. That was fun to watch.
I have a question. What was the kind of circumstances of Mike Tyson's bare bottom being on?
I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Like, why would you even be walking around? Was he wearing like
He's in
that?
a room.
Oh, but why would he have a bare bottom with something covering his front, but not?
And that's his pad.
Oh, okay.
And so he just wasn't wearing underwear under his pad, like a jock strap, like
Oh, okay.
back in the day when y'all played sports.
Yeah.
When Peter played sports.
No, I didn't. But I didn't know. Like, he kept his pad on, but not his boxing shorts.
Probably took his shorts off.
Yeah.
And probably signed them.
Oh, okay.
We can agree that was
before
probably
he went out. It was before he went out.
Oh, if it was before he went out, then he just hadn't put them on yet.
Was it a thong?
But typically, if you're doing a locker room interview, you're not going below the waist, and you're definitely not panning with somebody walking away.
Amanda had a question. Was it a thong? And I'll just say this: I didn't do a real deep
no. It was like
section of bitch or sumo. I just saw 2 cheeks, and I was like, "I've seen enough."
It was the opposite of a thong. It was just 2 outsiders kind of giving us this nice
foisting
Mikey T.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's happening. Okay, legal stuff. Twitter now, or X, says if you're going to use their service, you've got to submit to federal court in the Northern District of Texas, which is interesting because, or the state courts in Tarrant County, which is Fort Worth. Interesting because I don't know, is X, I thought it was based in Travis County.
No, but you get
Western
venue clause.
Yeah. But
in the agreement.
And it doesn't, there's not a test on can you just make up some random venue, or does it have to be some?
No, you can make up whatever you want.
Okay, well, there you go.
Which makes me wonder, how much cheddar could I get if I was a judge in like a particular conservative county that might want to help Elon out?
Well, there's some thought that the kind of conservative folks really like the judge. I think the judges that you draw in Northern District, particularly one division, I can't remember.
You think so? You think that might be some of the motivation behind that?
It could be. It could be. I think that's where I think Trump filed his case against CBS for allegedly editing parts of.
Did Paxton didn't he file a motion to dismiss like the impeachment? No, sorry.
Wasn't there Trump's claim? Yeah. Short story is they think the conservative side thinks that this judge that apparently you are guaranteed to draw when you file in a certain division of Northern District of Texas is favorable to them. So, and
weird.
We'll be there for a while. So that's always a problem. We know in the litigation world, you're supposed to, when you file a case, you're supposed to not necessarily know what judge you're going to get. So you can't judge shop. There were ways that people went around that in the olden days. And now with federal court, like what judge, which division of filings. And so if one judge, like for instance, when Kyle and I were younger, there's one judge, you file the case in Galveston federal court.
You knew who you were
going to that judge, and it kind of undermined the whole idea of like random selection. But I think in Northern District, this particular division, I think it's the same judge. So apparently Mr. Musk wants...
I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about Mr. Musk in
DOGE
coming months. I mean, he's going to be, I guess, handling some big decisions for the government.
Wait, isn't he the head of the Department for Government Efficiency?
Yeah, I think
you know what's fun is so is Vivek.
Yeah,
and I think that's the best part is like they were like, we need to have some efficiency.
2 people for one job
running it. It's like okay.
Well, we'll see how that goes, but
I'll be shocked to see that all the government inefficiency is Medicare and Social Security. But we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. I was more interested. I was more interested in the form selection clause and wanted to get your take on whether you could have one that has no relationship to, like, if some guy's in Washington State and he has an issue with X,
you can't.
Why would he? I mean, I have to come to Tarrant County to file that case.
I mean, I litigated a case between the Mexican government and Mexican nationals, and there was a forum selection clause that was signed by parties to the contract, though no one could ever produce one of the actual signatories. We tried that case in Harris County because it had a forum selection clause in Harris County.
Mm-hmm.
We eventually won that argument on appeal, saying this case does not belong in Harris County, and the form selection clause was procured by fraud. But that we litigated that for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can put whatever sort of random forum you want, unless there's a statute. So like in Texas, if you're going to file a lawsuit over mineral rights, that lawsuit's got to be brought in the county where the minerals exist. Obviously, if you sue a county, it's got to be brought in the county. If you sue the government, it's got to be brought in the county where that government entity is, unless it goes to Travis. So bottom line is yes, unless there's some weird statutory thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle, for that.
Is that why everybody's? So mostly I'm pretty up to date on my pop culture, but I just found out about Blue Sky. Isn't that what's called?
What is that?
It's like, I think it looks and feels a lot like Twitter.
Or
Oh, okay.
social. It's like liberal.
What's Truth Social, Amanda? Tell us.
I only know because of politics. Truth Social is like, isn't that Donald Trump's platform? It's where all the conservatives.
That's where I get all my news from Truth Social.
Yeah.
My understanding was at the time before Twitter was bought by Mr. Musk, there was a conservative backlash that thought they were being unfair to conservatives. So
Obviously,
they set up a conservative version of X. And then now Elon Musk has X, owns X, and he's made it more conservative, allegedly. So now all the left-leaning people said, we don't want to be on X, so we're leaving.
Somebody said there was like 20 million people that had already joined. Never heard of it.
Well, anyhow, X will...
Why didn't they just use
it fast?
You know what would have been awesome if they had just used the name Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good.
No.
Copyright laws, though.
Okay, so
I'm not using it.
I mean, I would think there's like still a copyright on it.
Are you a lawyer, Amanda?
I pretend to be one.
Yeah, well, she raised a good point. I mean, he probably kept it.
Yeah, Kyle, great point.
Okay, so contracts. You can be like we had our guests recently, were husband and wife, but they have a law practice together, and they have. I think I heard them say they have
for now.
Yeah, they have a written contract, partnership agreement. Which is smart. Very well advised to do that because you never know what's going to happen. Even if you have a business issue, like Kyle and I could be best buds and we have a handshake agreement, kind of like we have on this.
I was going to say, are you saying we should get a partnership agreement for the show?
Yeah.
Bill and I have been talking, Peter. We're letting you go.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, but we made one a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 40, 10.
He can't even do math.
Yeah. Anyhow, here's why to get an agreement. Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie had a champagne company or some kind of liquor company.
Vineyard, Miraval.
Yeah, and they
Miraval.
It's good.
Great rosé.
Yeah, they had a French vineyard. So they, obviously had personal stuff, and I don't know, did they ever get married?
Yeah, I think they're divorced now.
Okay, because remember they were like
some woman.
Because remember they weren't going to get married until it was legal for everyone to get married, and then obviously that happened. But I don't know if they had already broken up at that point. Anyhow, so they got it. She sold her part of it to some other company, and Brad Pitt said, "No, I got 50% of it." And sued. And so apparently she then said, no, oral agreement. We nullified it during a non-disclosure agreement regarding their marriage. So that answers that question. Judge dismissed Miss Julie's motions. So going to let a judge decide.
Buy Miraval for Bill and his friends because they love rosé.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious.
Who gets paid? Is it Bill or Angelina? Or Brad or Angelina?
Or Brangelina. No,
or Cherica.
So I don't know how. Here's my question: because it said this Stoli group bought her shares, so they must have had actual agreements of some kind documented on who had done corporate formalities, but they had a side agreement that everything was 50-50, and they're letting Brad Pitt at least take that
parole agreement in.
Typically, as you referenced, Kyle, what is the parole evidence rule?
Well, evidence rule is when there are circumstances within the contract that allow you to go to documents and information and evidence outside the contract to help with interpretation.
Yeah.
Requires ambiguity.
And Bill is not reading from Wikipedia. He
No,
did that.
That was actually, I blacked out. I'm not even sure if it's what I said made sense, but
Yeah.
I think that's what I remember from it.
Hey, Rain Man, how many toothpicks are left in the box?
Basically, yeah.
200.
Basically, if you have a written contract, then you can't like bring in oral testimony. It's like, no, we didn't really mean that when we wrote that down and signed it. We really meant this. But apparently, this judge thought there was enough there to end run around that. So
Brad Pitt is dating
Inez.
Ines de Ramon. She's 34 and he's 60.
okay.
That's it. Better than Bill Belichick.
I don't see any problems with that.
No, of course not.
Okay. Couple quick ones before we go. Christian Menifee, we talked about this story where he sued some gas stations that price gouged during Hurricane Beryl. One of them has settled for $50,000.
Good for. No, I genuinely appreciate that coming out of the county attorney's office. That's the stuff that he ran on. Bam, he's following through.
And he won a squeaker, but he did win.
Yeah.
By the way, we have election results come in since our last time.
Also, hold on. On the election results.
Yeah.
More purple than blue.
Tell me if this is wrong. If you were on the dirty verdict and you won your primary, you are 100% won your general.
Yeah, if you win a primary and you don't come on the show, you're going to lose.
And that's not, but I got to push back on that.
Well, hold on. I'm just trying to figure out what our track record is, because it seems like if somebody ran and we had multiple people from a primary, so we've had people on that have lost in a primary. But if you've gone from the dirty verdict to the general election, and there's like 3 or 4, you are undefeated. Is that true?
The only one that did not prevail, that won the primary, was Justice Frances Borleo. So,
Yeah.
and she was, and
We
we,
love Francis.
yes,
Sorry, Francis.
she was great, but there was just a headwind against her.
Forgot about
For
that.
the whole, because that covers several counties, not just Harris County. So
Well, congrats to guests
Nicole Purdue,
Nicole Purdue,
Shotlow, Purdue, Kelly Johnson,
Kelly Johnson,
Purdue. I mean,
Mono.
Sean Tier.
yeah,
Sean Tier.
I think that covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had
Mono won last time.
yeah.
we had invited some other candidates on who did not appear, but they lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a curse. I'm just saying, like, respect the mojo.
Your odds are very good to win if you come on the show.
Yeah.
That's
Like
basically-
80, 90%.
Yeah, we can't guarantee.
Everybody knows that.
Well, obviously nobody can guarantee it, but come on.
When Kyle and I get together, we're the voice of the people.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you can come on here and you can convince us to like you, the voters will too.
And by
I'm
the
not
way,
saying we got our finger on the pulse of America. We're just almost always right.
Just our finger on the pulse of Harris County.
And incidentally, that was every person we named. We covered both political parties.
No, yeah, for
We tried to.
Yeah.
Most.
So we
Oh, yeah.
obviously we just would like to have good candidates on, talk about the law and all that. Okay. So again,
Except for the lady that ran against Milo,
there's no one.
yeah, she was on. She was.
The invisible woman.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
See my point?
Yeah, exactly.
Genius.
Okay. So also Mr. Menifee, I thought this would be something, and I've seen this before, but he's filed this case against some companies that are committing these
Atrocity diesel theft.
Yeah, they're scams titles.
They're just
title theft.
filing a title just totally bogus and then selling the house. I don't know how
Oh my God.
people, like how that works. And,
Why?
that, and you,
They don't elect to buy title insurance.
Yeah.
okay, well,
I think,
Yeah.
but I don't know what title insurance.
no, I
is.
don't think that's the case. I think it's more about, we're going back to like,
I actually know something about this because I handled some contract for deed cases.
okay, so yeah, what's a bona fide purchaser for value? Are we talking about that, or is that totally different?
Well, I mean, I know what that is, but I don't know if that's, I don't know how that applies to this context.
So the scam is they make up a title that transfers the title from the actual owner to their fake
yeah.
company, and then the fake company will then sell the property, convey title, and then the buyer's like, "Hey, this is filed with a clerk."
Yeah, so there's going to be multiple levels of fraud, right? Because you have a fraudulent title company.
You're right. Okay.
And then you're going to have a fraudulent transferor. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I get how the scam works.
This scam for them is they found a 70-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Who had a home, and then they came into her life under the pretense of helping obtain financing to make repairs to her home.
Okay.
So that's when they got.
And then they get a title.
That's when they're in the hen.
Yeah.
Coop.
Okay.
That's
So-
a really, really despicable thing to do.
Just be very careful with that. I'm glad that Mr. Menifee's on the case.
If you have any questions about that, call Bill Ogden.
Yep.
Call Christian Menifee.
Call Bill first.
Seems like, again, county attorney's office doing what they said they were going to run on, which is keep it in-house and litigate on behalf of what's in the best interest of the county. I tip my hat to Christian on this one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to hit a couple quick ones. Y'all saw Randy Sorrels' law firm filed a lawsuit. I mean, you don't see a lot of helicopter crashes in Houston. I mean, you used to see them going out to the Gulf for people taking rig workers out to the Gulf and very challenging weather and landing these helicopters on a very small platform. This is like a tourist helicopter.
Yep.
Helicopter that apparently ran into a tower.
Cell phone tower or something?
No,
Yeah.
radio tower.
Yeah, like in Easttown town, right?
Yeah. That wasn't, I guess it wasn't lit and the NTSB has looked at this, but that's just horribly tragic. I just thought it was interesting that, I just hadn't heard of any helicopter crash cases.
I saw it was filed by Randy.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw that Benny Agosto is representing some of the, beneficiaries to the wrongful death estates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's several.
Benny's he's a helicopter guy. I mean, he had like a $1 billion suit against Bell Helicopter. He's been litigating for a little while too, so he knows his stuff on the helicopter.
Obviously, Randy knows.
Get to the chopper.
Not that Randy needs the help, but now to have to face both of those heads is not a.
That would be tough. Yeah, there's definitely going to be plenty of resources on the plaintiff's side. Kyle?
I was just saying, get to the chopper.
Okay. And this one was interesting because this is filed by Williams Hart, which is a very good law firm. His body was found in the ship channel. They filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the McIntyres, a popular sports bar located on 20th Street in the Heights.
The body was found where?
20th channel.
Now,
Yeah, he was found in the ship channel.
I don't normally go above Allen Parkway. But it seems to me like the Heights is a long way from the ship channel.
Kyle,
Yeah,
I'll
so
tell you this, but from your house and this office to the ship channel, you don't have to go above Allen Parkway. You just go east.
yeah, so
I'm not sure about all that.
the family alleges the family alleges that the guy last seen at the bar on November 12th, 22, his body was found on November 25th, 22. So 13 days later, they accused the bar of over-serving him.
How drunk do you have? Sorry.
And then they kicked him out, right?
Yeah, additionally, it claims the staff forcibly removed him from the premises despite recognizing he was in no condition to get home safely.
And then he ended up in the ship channel.
So he was found 13 days later, but is the family alleging that he drove home drunk and then fell into the ship channel?
No, they just say that they served him way too much and then kicked him out, knowing that he wasn't in a place to where he could get anywhere safe.
Gotcha.
And then he ended up in the ship channel.
The ship channel, you can apparently, the McIntyres are located just a few blocks from White Oak Bayou, which flows into Buffalo Bayou.
Car into it, or they found his body floating?
Body, which eventually, White Oak Bayou goes to Buffalo, which goes to the ship channel. So they've got causation challenge there to show that.
Like a major causation challenge.
Oh, yeah, you got to get past the dram shop.
They've only got
too.
They've only got 5 days of unaccounted for time. He might have been on a fishing charter. Who knows? That's insane.
Unless you have something, there's camera, footage of him
taking a header into White Oak Bayou.
On a ship channel.
Didn't that happen a few years ago? There was a bunch of lawyers in New Orleans. Some dude went missing. It was a lawyer from Dallas. And then they found the closed circuit TV where he's walking along the intercoastal waterway.
Yeah.
And he just goes into Lake Pontchartrain or something.
I don't know about that, but my question for the bar, let's assume that they found him the next, face down in the White Oak Bayou. What is the bar's responsibility? Let's say someone is obviously intoxicated. They stop serving them and they're causing a big stink. What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to, aside from kick them out, at what point does the bar not have to be the responsible for that
at the point of incapacity? If you get somebody so hammered that they can't walk,
Coherent, yeah. Then I think you have a duty to call Call the ambulance?
I mean, you did sell them all the booze that made them that messed up.
So call the police, call the ambulance.
Yeah.
Like you just can't turn them loose on the street.
I don't know. They always turn me loose. But
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, always you think about it from if someone trying to run a business. Let's assume, you know, they served him whatever the amount that normal amount. Like, at what point does it become unfair to require them to be like a supervisor over this?
Questions have is if they're going on a pure dram shop idea here, if every person employed on that at that place on that ship was TABC certified, don't they? Isn't there safe haven still?
There's ways around it, but which are difficult. But,
I think that would be a tough hurdle, just step one. But if Williams Hart filed it, they did the research.
Yes,
there's just facts that aren't in the news stories.
Yeah, and like I said, they're well funded, so they can investigate witnesses, get cameras.
Yeah, they'll do it the right way, and I'm sure that there has to be more facts that they have that would cause this.
I'd just love to know how you ended up in the ship channel. I mean, that's a long cruise, sailor.
Yep.
From Guideout.
Well, I think we've covered it. We'll keep an eye on all these. We try to update these as they go. Notably, I think the Diddy thing. By the next time we talk news stories, I think there's going to be a lot of news there.
But we might have to do like a interim taping,
a breaking.
I'm not kidding. We're like, this stuff is crazy. It's BANANAS.
So we want to say, Kyle, thank you for wearing a suit.
Yeah, just dating. It's got a blind date later.
Yep, definitely blind.
Definitely, yeah. She can't see it.
That was a good one.
And
no, I just I like to keep it classy for you too.
Yeah,
appreciate you. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. The visual, maybe not this one, although Kyle does look good, and I'd encourage people to see him. But there's some other ones that
we could post some stills of just me.
Yeah, I'm going to remind everyone to watch the Halloween ones at least on YouTube for sure.
Juicy.
Those are good. But anyhow, do all those things and keep track with what we're doing. We try to get it out every week. Talk some interesting legal stuff.
Peter, on behalf of me and Bill, I want to thank you for being
professional this time.
Yeah. The main. Monkey wrangler for this evening. Bravo, sir.
Yeah.
Good job.
You did good.
Admirable.
That was thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate the recognition.
All right.
Next time.
Doing God's work. All right.
We'll see you. Good night.